Has anybody seen the movie Conclave? Not Obsidian and those weirdos. I mean, the movie Conclave about how they select the Pope. Has anyone seen this movie? It's sparsely out in theaters. You blink, you miss it. Has anybody seen this movie Conclave? Starring Ralph Fiennes, Stanley Tucci, John Lithgow. You have not. Let me man, listen. Hold up. Don't spoil it, J3. Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. Wait. This is a deep ass movie. Okay, real quick. I must talk about this. We went to go see it last night. Ralph Fiennes plays the dean of the Cardinals. Okay, and then Stanley Tucci, he plays Cardinal Bellini. John Lithgow is Cardinal Tremblay. There's another cardinal named Tedesco, and then there's an African cardinal, Adeyini. Right? Okay, I think I got all the major players right. Okay, so the Pope dies unexpectedly. He didn't choose a successor. The Pope dies. The whole ritual of how they seal the room, take the body out, and then they were like, okay, what was his last day like? What was his last work schedule like? Very, very detailed. Very, very thorough. So now they go to the conclave. The conclave is where they go to meet to select the next pope. It's a ballot system. Tedesco is an Italian cardinal that wants the pope position. He wants to take things back to the Stone Age, because there's a scene when Tedesco is talking to Lawrence, which is played by Ralph Fiennes. He's like, you want the papacy to go back? You want him in the papacy? And he points to the African cardinal. He's Italian. He wants everything. He wants the Latin liturgy to come back, because they no longer speak Latin. He's offended by that, right? Then Bellini is a cool guy. Everyone's like, yo, Bellini, we want you to be the Pope. We want you to be the Pope. So all this jockeying, it's Game of Thrones for the church, for the Pope, for the papacy, for the pontification. But Bellini and Lawrence and their guys are like, okay, can you have your supporters vote for me? And okay, and Bellini's like, I don't want to be Pope. And he's like, we want you to be Pope, blah, 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 blah. So there's all this jockeying and posturing. So every group of cardinals has their little clique that they want supporters for to vote that had to be Pope. And then at the lunch table, or at the lunch in the lunchroom, Tedesco makes a good point. He says, we're all here for brothers in Christ under the church. But look at us. Italians over there, Americans over there, Africans over there, Italians, we're over here. Right? So in comes this new cardinal that the Pope kept off the books. Benitez. He is a Mexican that ran a bunch of places, but his main convent is in Kabul, Afghanistan. So everybody's like, what? Is it legit? Are you sure the Pope wasn't crazy or mad or having dementia? He's like, no, everything is legit. He kept it off the books for a reason. So now there's this underlying subplot for Lawrence to find out what the Pope was hiding. Because in another instance, Cardinal Tremblay, played by John Lithgow, the Pope had dismissed him from all of his appointments, from all of his regions, but nobody knows why. There's another cardinal that tells Lawrence, hey, Cardinal Tremblay, he had met with the Pope the night before he died, and the Pope had dismissed him from his all of his positions. You don't know why? And that other cardinal's like, I don't know why, but he's a drunk. So people are like, I don't believe what he's saying because he's a drunk, right? It's so crazy. Okay, so then we move forward. There's an argument between Adeyini, the African, right? He's Nigerian. The African and a Nigerian woman. They have an argument the night before, and they have an argument in lunch. And everybody's like, what the hell's going on? Why is this? Because the sisters, they come to the conclave to serve the men, prepare the food, make the beds, all that extra shit. It's old school. Women, you can be seen but not heard. Okay? They had that argument. Come to find out. So Lawrence goes to Adeyini's room. He finds out why. He talks to the sister. Sister won't talk. He said, okay, you want to do a confession? So she confesses what happened. So 30 years ago, Cardinal Adeyini, the African, had an affair with this young sister, and they had a child. The child got sent off to Europe. She was 19, he was 30. Lawrence tells Adeyini, he says, "Listen, man, you can't be Pope, because you know if there's any hint of any type of scandal on you, they're never going to go for it. You know, we just survived this last scandal from 30 years ago, whatever the case may be. So you can't be Pope." Mind you, they were still doing the vote. So in the first meeting, they do the votes. Everybody writes on the ballot. They read it off, poke the hole through it with the red thread, and then they burn it because they needed 72 votes to become the Pope. You need 72 votes. Set the smoke bomb off. If it's black, no Pope. If it's white, they get a Pope. So he tells Adeyini, "Hey man, you can't be Pope, man, because this scandal from 30 years ago." So then Lawrence is like, "Well, who the hell sent this girl to him to begin with?" Come to find out, Cardinal Tremblay, played by John Lithgow, the Pope before he died knew all of this. The Pope before he died didn't trust anybody. He lost faith in the church. He lost faith in the church. He had everybody monitored. He had everybody surveilled. He didn't trust nobody before he died. At some point, Lawrence goes to break into the room, because once the Pope dies, they seal the room with the red ribbon and the wax punch. Right? He breaks the wax seal. He goes in the room. He's looking for stuff. He sees his glasses. He breaks down crying because he missed him, because they all love the Pope. The Pope meant something to everybody. He had special relations with them all. So he sees something behind the headboard. He pulls it out. He sees this file in regards to what Cardinal Tremblay did. Cardinal Tremblay paid monies out of an account to fly the woman from Lagos to where they're at, to confront him, Adeyini, to get him out the way so Tremblay could be Pope. One of the sisters sees that he sees Lawrence breaks into the room the night before. She didn't see him, but she knew it was him. He says, "Hey, I need copies of this made." He makes copies, 108 copies, 108 cardinals. He says he makes 108 copies for all the cardinals to read the report from the Pope. Now, the night before he does this, he goes to Bellini, Stanley Tucci, and Bellini's like, "Hey man, just go put it back. I don't want to be a part of this. This is not how we, this is not how we do. We don't besmirch another cardinal just to get to the papacy." And then Bellini questions Lawrence's ambition, because Lawrence says, "I don't want to be Pope." And Bellini's like, "Every cardinal wants to be Pope. You're lying to yourself. Once you go in your room and ask yourself, search your feelings, every cardinal wants to be Pope." Right? Because at one point, Lawrence went to the Pope that says, "I want to retire." And the Pope would not let him retire as dean. He's dean of cardinals. He's the manager. All right. So the sister helps him make copies. The next lunch, they all read the report and they're like, "Oh, this is blasphemy. He didn't do this." Blah, 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 blah. And they're all looking at Tremblay. So Tremblay and Lawrence are going back and forth at it. The sister comes up and says, "Hey, I know us sisters are not to be heard and only to be seen, but the reason why he did this, blah, 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 he did send the woman to Adeyini to get him. Tremblay did do this." Okay. So they're all there. Tedesco is the main one. Nobody wants Tedesco in. Tedesco would be a tyrant of a Pope. Okay. Tedesco is racist. He vapes. So there's layers of the religion. So you got a bunch of popes that smoke cigarettes. This guy here is vaping. Now imagine a cardinal that vapes. They all got their little vices, right? You had a one scene of a bunch of cardinals on their phones. So you have this dichotomy of religion versus technology. Old school, old timey religion and today's technology religion, right? It's like American Gods, right? The new God was the tech boy. Old God was print media. Okay. So they all agree nobody wants Tedesco in. The only thing they disagree on, who do we all support? So they still agree to support Bellini and Lawrence to a certain extent. Benitez, the Mexican cardinal that came out of nowhere. He gets conferred and he gets accepted. He's like, hey, Pope said, hey, this guy's, he's legit. He was in Kabul. And of course, the desk goes, Kabul. How does a Mexican in an Arab country, blah, 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 blah. So there's this cloud of doubt around Benitez, because Benitez keeps voting for Lawrence. And Lawrence is like, why do you keep voting for me? And Benitez was like, because you're the best. You're the best candidate for it. I'm going to continue to vote for you. Benitez, totally unsuspecting, totally humble. Like, he's everything you would want in a religious figure. Totally just selfless, humble, non-aggressive. Everything Tedesco is not. So come to find out, Lawrence's assistant, like this is his right-hand man that gets the scoop on everybody, right? Benitez had a flight to Switzerland for whatever reason. And Lawrence is like, okay, well, go find out why Benitez was sent a flight to Switzerland at the behest of the Pope. So we go through another voting stage. Now it's down to 3 men. It's down to Tedesco, Bellini, Lawrence, right? And they're still voting. So now the votes are increasing. You know, at one point, everybody was getting like 15, 20 votes. Now the guys are getting 40, 50 votes. Still no Pope yet. The third act, towards the end of the movie, okay, what happened? Oh, a bomb goes off. A car bomb goes off. Right during one of their votes. Car bomb goes off. Everybody's all, you know. So they have a meeting outside of the room. You have a certain faction of them. Tedesco is like, look, man, these animals out here, we need to fight back against these animals. Because Tedesco is hot. Like, you put the lives of the religious figures in danger. Like, we need to fight back. So Benitez gets up and says, that's not war. The war is not with them. The war is within here. The war is in here. He gives this phenomenal speech. Next shot, the next vote, everybody's clapping because they selected a pope. And as soon as you didn't see Benitez in frame, I said, oh, it's Benitez. But then I figured it was going to be him halfway through the movie anyway. I just didn't know how they're going to spin it. But anywho, they choose Benitez to be the next pope. Lawrence's aide goes to Lawrence and says, hey, I found out why Benitez was sent to Switzerland. He's like, oh, okay, why? What happened? So Lawrence goes. Now, Benitez is getting dressed in the regal attire to go out and be commenced as the Pope. This is like an hour before he's supposed to go out in front of the people. He said, everybody clear the room. So I need to talk to you. Why did you go to Switzerland? Why did the Pope send you to Switzerland? He said, well, the Pope he booked me a flight, but I had changed my mind the night before I changed my mind. Hey, okay, so why? Well, I was supposed to get a surgery, and I decided not to get the surgery because, I was born the way I am, and I accepted who I am. I accepted that God makes no mistakes, and I accept God made me this way. Okay, what way are you talking about? This motherfucker was hermaphrodite. They chose, Benitez was a hermaphrodite. The Pope knew all of this. The Pope, before he died, Benitez went to the Pope and says, hey, I'm different. I'm so different. I don't want to ruin the church. Let me resign. The Pope said, no, we need guys like you. The Pope said, hey, if you want to get the ovaries removed, you want to get your uterus removed, I'll send you to Switzerland to get it done. Benitez, the night before the flight, Benitez says, no, I accept who God made me. I am who I am. So Lawrence is like, what the fuck? It's a good movie. They chose a hermaphrodite to be the next pope. Insane. Go see the Conclave. It's just for the acting alone, for the dialogue, the tension, the backstabbing, the House of Dragons vibe, the Game of Thrones, all of the posturing for the votes. Everybody wants to be pope, you know. So yeah, he becomes the next pope, man. All right.